I think most of us have been there at one point or another, laying in bed, mind racing, unable to sleep. Well, for our next guest, that happened nearly every night after returning home from Iraq in 2005. But then he started writing and was able to not only cure his insomnia, but become a published author. Eric Hook's first book is a heroic fantasy novel, Denithor the Librarian, the first book in the Denithor arc. And Eric is joining us this morning to share more about his inspiration. Eric, congratulations on getting here. What an accomplishment.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's something that I started a long time ago. I was kind of like staring at the ceiling, 2 a.m., and kind of got up because I was completely done looking at the ceiling. Sure. And I'd already made my way through a lot of my books. I'd already been a reader, and I picked up something by my ex-wife now and started reading that. Yeah, I don't want to make that too much of part of the story, but I didn't have anything else to read, so I read a book that she was reading at the time. I won't talk about what the series was, but
it wasn't hitting for you.
It didn't hit for me, and so I'd always been a writer, but it was very kind of like teacher tells you to write something, and so I write it. I enjoy writing it, but I hadn't written as a hobby, and so I kind of had this like feeling that I needed to like counterbalance this thing that I was reading, and I sat down and I wrote the first chapter of my first book, and I haven't published that one. I'm still struggling with it. Okay. But yeah, I wrote 36 pages that first week, which is the most I'd ever done, and it became a part of my way of dealing with my insomnia in a very natural way.
Yeah.
I knew enough people from that time and after that have struggled with substance abuse and things that I wasn't dealing with it with Ambien or anything like that. I was very afraid of trying that. And so I was kind of going alone and finding this like very natural way that I could kind of like take my mind out of this like spin that it would do at night. Yeah. It wouldn't be able to calm down. I felt like the insomnia was a bit of a monster. Sure. And so I give it something to chew on. Yeah. And that was the book.
Feed that monster.
And it worked. Yeah. And so it's a bit of a wave. It comes and goes over the years, and that means that my writing kind of comes and goes as I need it. But eventually it occurred to me that maybe I should get published. I had some friends that encouraged me to do so, and so I finally got published.
Here we are. Okay, so let's talk about this story. This is going to be the first in a series.
Yeah.
And kind of the inspiration behind the characters and the plot.
Yeah, there's a lot of me and my family in this. I started writing Denithor kind of to get unstuck from a different book, which, if there's any writers watching this, they'll say, yes, that's a thing. Right. But I grew up, with my sons sharing my love of fantasy. I'm a big Tolkien fan, and they expanded that into other areas. So they're into like Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons and all of these other video games, World of Warcraft and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I'd never written in that sort of traditional fantasy landscape before. Elves and dwarves and orcs and all of that other kind of like traditional fantasy is how I consider it. But my son Logan, he dragged me into a D&D session because they had a friend that didn't show up. And after that, I kind of asked myself, I had such a good time. Yeah. And I asked myself, why am I not writing in this? And I'll shout out my son Logan. This is actually his drawing. So it's when you're an author and you don't know what you're going to do with the cover, it really helps to have a talented author in the talented artist in the family that can help you out. And so that's his drawing, Logan's. But cool. I started writing this, and a lot of me is baked into that. Mm-hmm. My journey as a veteran, I struggled to kind of like find myself after leaving the military. I medically retired, and then he loses an eye in battle, and then he gets kicked out too, and then he has to find himself afterwards. He wants to be a mage, wants to be a magic user, and nobody will teach him because he's really too rough around the edges. And so he gets a job at the library and decides, I'm just going to teach myself.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt a little bit the same way, and I didn't realize that I was doing that I was kind of giving him like a post-military transition story. It just sort of like came out of me, and I think that was almost like, I don't know, self-therapy maybe, that, he's got these struggles dealing with, non-military, like civilians, because he has a rough way of talking, and he has a rough way of dealing with people. And I went through very similar things as I was leaving the military and trying to, be like a regular person. And
Sure.
It's like, you can't talk to people like you do in the Army. So I had that journey, and I ended up just kind of, I guess, subconsciously putting it into the book as well.
Okay, I love that. And so quickly, let's talk about what you hope, kind of the message you're spreading also to veterans. You say that there's a lot of that in this book for you.
Yeah.
And what this process was like, and any advice or things that someone's listening and is like feeling kind of lost like you were.
Well, it's the thing about being in the Army is that, or any branch of the military, is that they definitely get you into, dress right, dress. Everything has got to be the same. Everybody's got to look the same. If we're all the same, then we're all right. If anyone is out of place, then we're all wrong. That is something that is completely and totally built into us. And the thing about any type of mental health struggle, whether it's like the sleep issues that I struggled with, or any type of PTSD or anything, your solution might not be this one-size-fits-all solution. And so I think that every veteran should really think, or every person in general,
Sure.
should really think about the fact that you have to keep your mind open to different solutions, because your solution, it might not be the one that's everyone else. Like, not everybody is going to go out and write, fantasy fiction novel. Not
Yeah.
everybody's going to do that. Your
Right.
solution might be something that is completely off the table, and you have to get outside of your comfort zone, because your comfort zone might be connected to what
Sure.
your issue is, and I think that if you have your mind open and available to different solutions that are not this like, all right, well, everybody else is doing this, so I'll do this.
Yeah, think outside the box.
Then I think that there's maybe a successful solution out there for you if you can do that.
Well, thank you so much, Eric, for sharing this, for bringing your book. Congratulations. You're going to put out a book a year, a series of 3 for this one.
Yeah.
So, so you can find this book any place you get your books.
I'm on Amazon. I have also got a Kindle version,
Okay.
in case you're an e-reader.
There you go.
And that one, I think right now I'm still, if you're a Kindle Unlimited, it's free for you.
Okay.
So, yeah.
There you go.
Give
All
it a shot.
right. Well, you want to learn more too about his story? EricHookAuthor.com. Follow him on Facebook and Instagram. We'll be right back.